How to get to yes in your marriage-based green card process. There are quite a few steps that you need to take to get to the point where you can produce a successful, strong, winning marriage-based application, and I'm here to help you do it. So now let's talk about the steps that you should be taking to get to that point. When I am preparing applications for my clients, I make sure that I follow these steps. I prepare, then I go ahead and compose. I review again, file, and then there's that interview. So let's talk about each of these steps. Now, when you're preparing, the first thing is, do you qualify? So there have been times when I have consulted with couples and they find out that they weren't even supposed to apply the way that they applied, and sometimes they didn't qualify for the process that they were applying for. And so it is so important to make sure that you and your spouse qualify for this process. Now, who qualifies to apply for the marriage-based green card? Yes, I know you have to be married, but your immigration status plays a very big role in the way that you're going to apply. Now, if you have a U.S. citizen or a legal permanent resident spouse, then you're in good shape. Even if you have a U.S. citizen fiance, you can still get to the green card. The next question is, I'm here in the US. Can I apply for adjustment of status? Adjustment of status is the process of applying for permanent residence while you are in the United States. Your immigration status is going to play an important role in determining how to handle this situation. So if you're here, you're out of status. When I say out of status, do you not have your papers? You don't have any visa, maybe you overstayed your visa, or do you have your visa? Let's start with being out of status. If you're here, you overstayed your visa, and you have a U.S. citizen spouse, then guess what? Adjustment of status could still be for you. If you're out of status and you have a permanent resident spouse, then doesn't mean you don't qualify for permanent residence, but what it means is you're going to go through a different process, or you may need to evaluate whether it's best to wait until your spouse becomes a U.S. citizen before filing. So in this case, if you're out of status, you have a U.S. citizen spouse, then you are well on your way. If not, make sure to get assistance, because there's more to that process than is obvious. And you want to make sure you talk about all the legal implications involved. Now, what if you are here and you have status? You're here, meaning you're on a visa, maybe a student visa, maybe an employment visa. You have some sort of legal immigration status. If that's the case, then you could qualify for adjustment of status through your U.S. citizen spouse or through your U.S. permanent resident spouse. Now, if you have a U.S. permanent resident spouse, it's so important to make sure that you apply before you overstay or before your status runs out. Because once your status runs out, you cannot apply for adjustment of status again. But now is a good time to apply for permanent residence through your permanent resident spouse. Now, if you are outside of the United States, then that's going to mean that you're going to go through a process called consular processing. That means that you're going to apply, and eventually you're going to go to the interview at the U.S. Embassy in your country or the country where you're residing to get your immigrant visa to come here to the United States and then become a permanent resident upon landing. The process for consular processing versus adjustment of status where you're here, they are different and the steps are different. But if you have a U.S. citizen or a legal permanent resident spouse, you can go ahead and file for this. Now, there's this misconception that you always have to wait for your spouse to become a U.S. citizen. If you're outside of the United States, either your U.S. citizen or your permanent resident can apply for you. So make sure you get on it.